Here is my audience. Matt, my dad Kevin, my brother Nick, and my mom Kathy. Ugh, men. Ugh, women. We've all heard this or said this before, and I'm sure you all know exactly what I mean. Since the beginning of time, men and women have always communicated differently. According to www.growmymind.com, studies have shown that women use communication in order to create an emotional connection or bond. Thus, the communication itself is the purpose. Men seem to perceive communication as a means of solving a problem. I will inform you on how both men and women communicate differently and see if we can try to solve the ongoing problem of communicating with one of the opposite sex. It is obvious and a common known fact that men communicate in the easiest way possible for the given situation. Two men having a conversation communicate effectively and clearly with each other. They often use matter-of-fact language, and the exchange is simple and logical. Males often communicate using their intellect, the rational, analytical part of the brain. This is why they often jump into solving problems. They are typically not raised to develop their feminine, nurturing, and emotional side, so their conversations revolve discussing the what, how, and why of the situation, and that's about it. They like simple, clear, bottom-line conversations. They don't want long, winded stories with emotional drama. Most men also don't like to be interrupted. To use a picture drawing, when two men have a conversation, one draws a very simple picture. The other one looks at it, says, yeah, okay, I get it, then draws another picture, probably about the same as his, looks at it, they both say, all right, sounds good, sprinkle it up, and throw it away. And that's about the end of the conversation. They both are involved in their own construction and deconstruction and destruction of concepts and ideas that they share with each other. Men can handle this, but we all know that all of these traits are different when it comes to women. Women seem to take a much more complex and harder path when it comes to communicating. According to www.themarketingguy.com, women's brains are always on. Women are famous for speaking from the heart. We're not afraid to get emotions involved, even though sometimes it may be better just to keep them out. We often share memories and give details that may not be relevant to the situation. Because of this, women can talk and talk and talk. Women are also famous for multitasking, which shows in many of our conversations as we can have different levels in our conversations and not miss a single fact. www.zimbio.com says that women listen better than men by using a larger frame. This allows women to take in more information at a time and also put out more information. When I compare the women's drawing to the men's drawing, it's obvious that there's a lot more detail and color and shapes in the women's drawing. This showing that women are much more complex and have a lot more details than men ever will. And at the end, when the women get done with their pictures, they won't ever throw it away because they're more than likely going to use it in their next conversation to share a story from the past. Women will always be able to communicate with women, but we often confuse many men when trying to get a point across. We know how men and women communicate differently, but we also need to know how we can try to communicate with the opposite sex. Some of the most common things that are argued upon are money, raising kids, cleanliness, and who is right. Remember how men like to communicate their ideas simply and fully before letting it go and hearing the other's idea. Give them time to complete their thought before adding yours. Break your ideas down and communicate these ideas one at a time, and ensure your partner understands each piece before moving on. Think bottom line when giving details. Men can speak and listen from the heart. When speaking with a woman, try communicating from the heart and soul. Connect with your heart and listen for the emotional aspect of what she is really saying. Avoid the temptation to rationalize and solve any problems. Instead, just listen to them. Don't jump to conclusions if a female does start to bring emotions into the conversation. Many times, men jump to conclusions and think that they are being blamed for everything. If a story with lots of details is unfolding, enjoy envisioning it instead of trying to make it simple. Agree on how to communicate. When speaking with a significant other about an important subject, it can be helpful to them to understand what you need. The woman may say she needs to express her emotions and be listened to fully without problem solving. A man may say he needs to have a simple conversation without going into deeper details. Agreeing on how you will communicate before the conversation can save much frustration and probably a heartache. It's obvious that men and women can communicate differently. Over time, we have all learned from personal experience that it isn't always easy to communicate with one of the opposite sex. But the next time you think about communicating with that man or that woman, take a minute to consider that it's just how we're made.